Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show, our little pre-show here on our live Computer America video streaming page. Hopefully, all of you had a wonderful weekend, and Ben and I are here with two very interesting guests tonight. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we get started here with another week of Computer America.
One minute until showtime.
Okay, Ricard, stand by. Okay?
Yep.
All right. 10 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Okay, and we are here.
What happened?
Yeah, sort of better late than never, but welcome to the show. It's Monday, and yes, it is Monday, and hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. Maybe you know, now what is that new Jupiter Ascending movie? Did that come out this Friday? Yeah.
Yeah, is it Jupiter ascending or descending or
It's Ascending.
Jupiter?
Something.
Yeah, ascending. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out.
Exactly. Okay, so maybe you caught that movie, or just had a nice, relaxing weekend. But whatever. We're so glad that you're here with us here on a Monday night. We're gonna have not one. Yeah, we're gonna have,
Rotten Tomatoes is not like Jupiter ascending.
Oh, well, there you go.
They only get 22%.
Well, I never listen to critics. I always go.
This is my favorite thing about Craig. I never listen to critics. I go see it if it looks interesting. I'll go see it regardless, because some of my favorite movies have been ones that the critics did not like, but I loved. Craig says that line every time we bring up critics, but then he'll go see a movie and tell everyone, it wasn't that good, you shouldn't go see it, or, oh man, that was great, you should really go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Craig, you're a critic.
Well, yes, but I'm not a national critic. I mean, I don't do it for a living. I was just giving my opinion. I was opining about the film. So, but yeah, judge for yourself. I always say, never listen to a critic.
Okay.
However, hey. Anyway, we're glad you're here with us Monday, the show, and I said we have two interesting guests tonight. In the second hour of the show, we're going to be talking to Sitelock, which is a service that actually finds and removes malware from anywhere on your website. It's a little different angle than what you're used to, so that's going to be an interesting topic. And anything else you want to mention else before we get started, Ben?
No. I think this weekend nothing really happened of note. So
okay.
Other than no, we're good.
All right, now if you let me just give out the numbers. If you have a comment or question for our guest tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. It's a special email inbox we have set up on the show. If you don't want to go on the air but you have a question or a comment, live at computeramerica.com is a great way to communicate with us. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room. Just go to our homepage at computeramerica.com, and you'll see right in the middle of the page it says Interact with the Show, and it says Chat and Live Video. Just click on that button. It'll take you to a split screen. On the left-hand side, it'll ask you for a username. That's the name that you'll be known by when you go into the chat room, the IRC chat room. Click the Connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. It's just that simple. Also, sharing that same screen is our live Computer America video page. That's right. Not only can you listen to the Computer America show, but you can also watch the show. Right? You can see myself. You can see Ben. Sometimes you can see our guests. Just makes things even
But
more
at the end of the day,
yes.
at the end of the day,
Yes.
is it really a selling point that you get to see this mug, or even that mug?
Yeah. I see the mugs that are behind you. What would?
What we're trying to say is we're not going to win any beauty pageants, but sometimes we have demonstrations of like we had a 3D printer, we had a robot guy on a little while ago. Demonstrations are probably some of the best ways that you can use the video. But hey, if you want to look at my pretty face, go for it.
I like looking at the little pigs on the shelf behind you.
If you want to look at the little pigs behind my pretty face, that's your business too. I don't tell you where to look.
That's right, pumpkin pigs. You got to look at them. Anyhow, so that's how you communicate with us. That's how you interact with us here on the Computer America Show. All the different venues that we offer for our listeners. So let's get started in this first hour. And the name of the company we're going to be talking about is Incentive. What are they? Well, Incentive, according to their website, provides your organization's collective brain trust. That's all the different people there, with a single socially powered collaboration platform. It seamlessly integrates with your current workflow, improving the way you collaborate and share information. And the result of doing that is an efficient, empowered workforce and more positive business outcomes. Being social at work is good for business. Really, evidently it is. After several iterations, Incentive became the socially powered enterprise collaboration platform it is today, helping teams achieve improved profitability, increased efficiency, and accelerated business results. Now, just after its launch, the platform was nominated for Best Software of the Year in Sweden. Wow. Now, joining us tonight is Ricard Hansen, who is the CEO of Incentive. Ricard, welcome to Computer America. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. So, tell us a little bit. Now, I know you've been an entrepreneur your whole career. Before we get into Incentive, tell us a little bit more about the previous companies you founded. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I've been playing with my own companies now for the last 13 years?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while,
Ah.
and I've always been into creating some kind of software or product and so on and so forth. Like, I really want to create something you can actually distribute, and many people are using the same kind of software. So that's like, I think I got the inspiration from that back in the days where I was playing around with my Commodore 64, being like 11 or 12 years old. So I'm a geek, so to speak, in terms of that. So I was programming my own games and my own demos and so on and so forth. But I always loved the feeling to go to the shop and buy a product, buy the game, and hold the product in your hand. So I've always been into creating some kind of a product. So prior to this, I founded a company called Mindred Software back in Sweden in 2002. Mm-hmm. And with a modest ambition of like becoming the next Microsoft, just a little bit smaller, just a little bit.
Well, that's good. That's good model to achieve or to strive toward. Yes, exactly.
Right. You want to create several verticals or whatever you want to call it. So that's what's our, like, I would say, a brewing house, so to speak, to create more, several softwares. Always though B2B, business to business, enterprise.
Well,
so I created. Sorry?
Well, you mentioned that things that you hold in your hand, and of course things are really changing today. A lot of products today are virtual. You don't really go out and buy everything. You download or just installed on your computer. So things have changed quite a
Yeah, I
bit.
know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's changed. It's funny back in the days. It sounds like I'm so old, which I am though. But back in 2002, to be honest, like people really want the physical products. I actually had this DVD box and we put a CD in it and we had a print with our product name and had like a good like label and everything. So you can actually give them a physical product, which give them more of like a feeling for, okay, I'm going to pay the invoice because they actually deliver the product, and then the IT manager can put that CD in his shelf and he will never use it because of course he will download it anyway. But they like to have this physical product back in 2002, to be honest. And we loved loved to actually have that physical product in your hand. And back in the day it was we created something called the Moon, which is actually just the put together name of Let's Move On, because 2002, I guess you remember, it was the IT crash. The whole bubble just bursted. And I came up with a great idea. I should start a new company, and it should be within IT. So whenever I told someone about that, he just looked at me and said, I'm so sorry, but I wish you all luck in the future. So we created this, and that was a content management system. Like nowadays, I would say it was an early WordPress product, so to speak.
Okay.
That's crazy that you jumped back into technology like right after the crash. It crashed, everyone lost fortunes, and you're like, hey, there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, in some crazy way it was. Like I would say like being an entrepreneur was it wasn't my choice, because the company I was working for back then that completely crashed like any other company, and since all the other IT companies was crashing or just downsizing, it didn't matter, or didn't, I was talented and I could get a job, so to speak, based on my knowledge, but there was no jobs. So I just realized I have to create my own job. So I did. So I created my first company. But the good stuff, since we fairly quickly created this first version of our product and then started calling people and say, hey, I want to show you this product. And funny enough, everyone was downsizing and screaming and for help. And we were calling people and talking to them, trying to sell stuff. So we had no competition actually at that stage. So it turned out to be a pretty good move.
Yeah, well, that's a nice position to be in, and obviously. So tell us about incentive. I kind of introduced it, but obviously you're the CEO of the company, and you can certainly do it a heck of a lot better. So what is incentive?
I know. I think you did a pretty good job. So I will see if I can do it better. But no, the whole inspiration for incentive is already back in 2006, and actually, as any consumer-driven, I would say, technology or revolution, always at some times gets into the enterprises. And back then you can see people setting up blogs, you can see Wikipedia growing up, or actually going through the roof, and you can find all the knowledge in Google, you can find all the by just a single search and so on and so forth. So my vision with Incentive was to replicate that into a worker set, like a workspace. So that was like the foundation of the idea for Incentive in the beginning. And actually early on I got some screenshots from coworkers at IBM who set up early on blogs internally instead of like classic intranets, and they were communicating through the blogs, and the language in the blogs was very far away from the big blue IBM, which you can see from the outside. It was like engineers talking to each other and saying, the cat peed on my keyboard, how should I address that? So I was pretty inspired by that and said, okay, this is going to move into the company, and it's going to be a platform, like everything in one place. You can collaborate, you can communicate, you can socialize all in one platform. So then back at that stage, just on a blueprint or the sketchboard, we started to create the product. So in a nutshell, it's as you said in the intro, it's a collaboration platform that try to copycat what you do and the tools you use in your everyday private life, but in a business context. So we want to remove the thresholds or the resistance to bring in a new tool in terms of using it, because we want it to be like a Facebook experience, but you do it in the best interest of the company. So for the company, it's going to be like all the stuff that's going on in the company is going to be retained and stored in one place.
So there's
That makes sense.
there's yeah, I mean, it's sort of like social networking, but from a business point of view, perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And
So you're connecting coworker to coworker instead of friend to friend, so to speak.
well, you can also be, even though you're coworkers, you can be friends too, right? I mean, it's possible.
Absolutely.
So
all my coworkers in my company are my friends for sure.
There it is. So
See, I don't like the people I work with. It's weird.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. So okay, so you started doing this, and I'm assuming you had certain challenges or obstacles that you came across that made you realize that there was a need for a platform like Incentive.
Yeah, and that was my own conclusion at some point, that if you talk actually both to management, but specifically employees or the coworkers, is you have the need to have like an open dialogue. You want to have a communication that goes in both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And in a classic scenario, you have the intranet where everything is pushed from top down, and you have an editorial staff that decides what is interesting or not, and what's the topic for now, and so on and so forth. And in the reality, that doesn't really work. Mm-hmm. And if you have a somewhat modern, I would say, management style, I would say you're interested in what your coworkers have to say, and maybe we'll find an answer to optimizing something in an organization where you least expect it. Because we've seen that many times in our clients' organizations, that all of a sudden the quiet person or people, the people that don't speak up in a conference room, but give them the tool, give them the room, give them the time, and they will start creating, and maybe you will find a lot of answers in those people. So we create that arena, so to speak.
All right. So so you obviously, there were some gaps in the marketplace that you had to identify, and what were they, and what that led, so they basically, you said, okay, we have to create something like Incentive.
Right. So we were very early onto this. So there was really not a gap, and really not a demand. So my crystal ball predicting the future was, as I said earlier on, like every consumer trend will at some point turn into an enterprise trend. You can't really know when. So I thought, like, let's start now and see where it goes. So we actually pushed this into a very immature market, so to speak, which is very tricky being an entrepreneur, because then you have to have, which I think is the most characteristic for an entrepreneur, is endurance. You have to be very endurant if you do believe in this. That's nothing like timing. You see, and every entrepreneur story you see of, like, it's just like a straight line from A to B, and say, I started here and I have this huge success in the end. But in the reality, it's like a lot of ups and downs and curves, and all of a sudden you U-turn and something else, and then also you almost like bankruptcy, and then all of a sudden everything looks good. So this timing thing is endurance. You have to work yourself to the timing window, so to speak, which I've been doing with this platform for a while. So we see a clear trend now, say, that we're moving towards like a maturation in the market space, that more and more companies is asking for this instead of us training or educating them in what it is.
Okay, so give us some specifics. How does Incentive solve enterprise collaboration issues? Because now you're focusing basically on B2B and not B2C. So what enterprise collaboration issues does Incentive solve?
I would say what people, again, we're very inspired how you do communicate and collaborate in your private life. You can ask a community for Facebook, watch the favorite restaurant in San Francisco. So I would say real time is one particular thing. People love to instant message. People are tired of long email conversations, and as soon as you do fall into an email context, you have to be very like structured and professional. But within instant messaging, you can be fast and like just get things done. Or get stuff done. So that's one thing we are focusing a lot on the moment, like instant messaging and video calling within the platform. And to really solve, I would say, the challenges with an organization, we do go all in what we say all in one place, which means you don't want to use several different features within your organization to solve a problem, so to speak. So the problem today is like people are using Dropbox, they're using Jammer, they're using Facebook even, like with private secret groups, setting up collaboration spaces. That's a huge problem for the company in terms like where's the content, where's the knowledge, where's our IP, and also for the coworkers overall to know what platform to use when.
Well, you mentioned something called platform fatigue. What is platform fatigue, and how does incentive remedy it?
Yeah, that's like based on the same thing as just said. It's in a lot of organizations, or I would say every organization, there's an upwards driven trend from the coworkers. They're setting up whatever service they find to solve their problems. So like the marketing team maybe set up Dropbox for file sharing, and you had the development team setting up a Slack installation to real-time communicate, and then you have maybe the customer services setting up Yammer for communicating in their team. The problem there then, you're adding platform, so to speak, or service after service after service to your organization. And that's, if you're like, we are working with everything between 200 up to 1,000 employees companies, and if you do have so many employees, there's no chance that you can actually train all those people in 5 to 6 different services and how to use them and when to use them and why they should use them. And me from a company perspective, I have no overview what's going on. There's no cross communication between those different services. So what actually happens is like you focusing on creating efficiency in the company, but for each service you add, you actually decrease the efficiency and add a lot of costs, like both hidden and direct costs. So we see that in our clients, it's like they're getting fed up of all those services being used, but clearly there's a demand. The users love them, they use it, and they, in their small teams, they're more efficient, but the company in its whole is less efficient. So we address that by saying, okay, again, all in one place. We have all those features in one platform. They're very similar to the features you use today, but we will want to have them all in one platform so we can have a very efficient cross-boundary communication within the organization, and so on and so forth.
Do you think that your product is kind of a response to the workforce nowadays? Since, let's face it, people coming into the workforce and people who have been in the workforce for about 10 years now, they've grown up with social media to some extent, MySpace, Facebook, what have you. Do you think like it's just the newer workforce is kind of more comfortable using a platform such as yours, just with the instant messaging and the video calling, that kind of thing? Like, they're obviously very comfortable with it in their social life and their private life, but I guess tools like this kind of blend the two and let people communicate how they're used to communicating.
Yeah, I super agree with that. So it's absolutely this new generation, the millennials, growing up within quotes, but getting into the professional lives. And I would say, like, more or less, if you never worked at a workplace before, you're almost expecting to see something like our platform, like open and transparent and absolutely one search and find it all and communicate with people, connecting with them like you do on LinkedIn. You're just expecting that, and many people are going to be very shocked when they come to a little bit bigger enterprise. It's going to be those big clunky softwares like CRM and so on and so forth. So I would say, like, for us, it's a very good thing that we have this, new generation getting up also to management positions so they can make actual decisions. And they want to communicate, because we hear more and more CEOs actually saying, why are all my tools in the company less efficient and easy to use than all the private things I use, like for just planning like a renovation or something, or planning a party? Why isn't that simple in my company? So there is a big shift going on, and it's going to be, I think, in 2015, by the end of 2015 or beginning of 2016, more than 50% in the whole workforce across the US will be the millennials. So they will go for this, so to speak.
Okay. Now, I know you just released a new 2015 version, and can you tell us a little bit what's new in it and updated in this release?
Yeah, that's like, again, we're delivering on our promise, because we've been talking a long time about this all-in-one place. Like, you never have to leave our platform, because we don't have the feature in place to, so you can actually get your work done. But now with this winter edition 2015, we actually deliver on that promise. We have all the features you do need in your everyday workday, and you don't have to leave it to do like through Dropbox or anything else. You can do all your work in one place, which is a huge benefit both for I would say the coworker, because you save a huge amount of time, by the end of the day, if people uses this throughout the workday, and everyone does, like communicating and socializing and collaborating, you're creating a gold mine of information in a very short time period. And our take is also you have a very strong search engine on top, so it's like as a result, it's going to be like Googling your own company. You go to this platform and you search. There's a big search bar like we have, like Google, and then you search and you will find people, knowledge, and expertise within an organization in seconds. So again, we're replicating the whole internet experience, but in a business context. So I would say now when with this release 2015, we're delivering on that promise.
All right. Well, spend a little bit. Give us an example. What are some of the unique attributes that Incentive offers that let's say you can't get with other social collaboration platforms?
If you look into this, our specific target as well is small and medium-sized businesses, small and medium-sized enterprises.
Right.
So a lot of other players in the same market space that have a lot of features as well, not maybe as many as ours. They're going for the big ones. So they have like Intel, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and so on and so forth as clients. So they're very big. We're aiming for the small ones. So a unique offering here is like you get this very, very capable platform with all those features, but license-wise, it's focused on the small and medium-sized enterprise. And then also we're very Microsoft aligned, and if you think Microsoft, I think like more business aligned. So we have decided also to align a lot into the business. Of course, we'll add this collaboration layer between coworkers and so on and so forth. But we also want to incorporate existing systems. So if you're using SharePoint, you're using Microsoft Dynamics, or you're using Microsoft Outlook and so on and so forth, we want to integrate all that as well into our platform. So again, Incentive will become the campfire where everyone can meet up and you can do all your work, and you can also find the stuff that's going on in the different business systems within your organization.
This is different than meeting around the water cooler, I guess. Or maybe it's a lot like that, where you can kind of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually had a piece in a magazine many, many years ago that's saying this social intranet, or this social collaboration platform, is the new water cooler. It's just like digital. It's a digital arena instead of like standing and hanging around at the water cooler. So I agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay. So let me ask you, how do you see the social collaboration space changing in the future, or are we seeing that now, or are we going to see any other changes?
Yeah, I would say some may disagree, but I think this is we're still in the early days, because we talk to a lot of companies and clients and prospects every day, and for a majority of them, when we talk to them, that the platform like ours or similar exists at all and address those problems and have those great benefits, it's news for them. So it's still early days, I would say. So the change is that this is going to shift. So I would say 2015 going to be the big shift year, so to speak, in terms of people who are actually going to look for this and know what it is and ask for it. So this, Incentive or any other product out there, this kind of features we do deliver is going to be as usual or common as email has been back in the days. It's going to be every company is going to have some kind of collaboration platform in the future.
Now,
that's going to be the big change.
Sure. But now are you saying is Incentive only for mid-sized enterprises, or can smaller companies and startups use it?
I would say yes, and I actually encourage for startups to use it, because if you do have a startup, like I've been in a startup many times. This is my, in total, 5th company I'm founded, which I'm working with now. So I know some things about a startup, and if the earlier you have a structure in terms of communicating, collaborating, and documenting, and so on and so forth, the better it is, because if you're successful and you grow, it's easier to onboard people if you have like Incentive or similar in place already. So it's people can just log in and instantly they have access to all information in the company and all the people, and they can connect to the people and follow the people and so on and so forth. So if you are a startup, I strongly encourage to get on to some kind of collaboration platform ASAP.
Well, are you
can build your company.
Are you saying that it's important for all companies to think about this collaboration platform from the get-go? I mean, right from the start?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's the best way to start. I would say, no, of course, this I know this is my kind of product, of course, but I would say like I would rather scrap email and just go for a collaboration platform and just communicate
Scrap
through
email?
some kind of collaboration platform. Sorry?
Scrap email? Really?
Good on you. Good on you.
Small company. We're like 25 employees. We're not big. We're not super small, but
Uh.
we have no internal emailing at all.
Really?
Yes, we only communicate for our own platform, which means what I create in my company, at least, is a preserved memory. Everything that's going on is in one place and one place only, which is great for me.
I was going to say, and you're doing well with that. Okay, well that's good. I mean, you're practicing what you're preaching, obviously. So.
Yeah. I don't know if that's an American saying because I'm Sweden, but you have to eat your own dog food.
That's the same thing.
Is that an American saying?
Yeah. Well, either way.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely not an American. Well, it might be because I don't know if many dog food makers would actually eat their own dog food, but that's besides the point.
And tell you a lot of those Swedish sayings that doesn't make sense in English at all.
I've seen Ben gnawing on a milk bone from Thai biscuit, but
they're all natural.
We have a thing in Sweden like there's no cows on the ice, for example. Like there's no no rush or there's no danger on the roof. I don't know why you say that, but that's a direct translation, but it doesn't make sense, of course.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We're coming to the bottom of the hour, Ricard. So what we're going to do is when we come back, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what you see on the horizon for incentive in 2015, and then we'll finish up. Okay. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, good enough. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, and on the Boost Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Ricard Hansen. He is the CEO of Incentive. Basically, it's social. It's social networking, but for enterprises, for businesses, and we'll continue on with them. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. Of course, our chat room at computeramerica.com. We're going to take a break. We got a brand new News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
So, you feeling erudite? This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin book review for Computer America. This time, Wiley's 12th edition of Mechanical and Electrical Equipment for Buildings by Kwok and Gronzig. The new 12th edition is a breezy 1,800 and some pages of the practical, physical, scientific, and engineering underpinnings of everything about building and buildings, from the impact on local soil to, well, everything. Well, new. Most of its coverage of more recent technologies like LED lighting, higher efficiency heating and cooling products, and home control systems is quite dated. But its considerable coverage of the basics more than makes up for that. Comfort, heating, cooling, lighting, acoustics, power, water, sewage, the effects of sun and weather, power equipment, wiring, and other aspects involved in designing homes or office buildings all come into play. It has the levels of detail that architects, builders, designers, and yes, specifically and especially geeks will love. Bottom line, the answer to why things get built the way they do, and what happens when you change those ways, get explained in a zillion ways. And Wiley's 12th edition Mechanical and Electrical Equipment for Buildings. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. That was apparently Marty Winston, feeling erudite, and his book review. Not exactly a tech review, but the book is, of course, about technology. We are talking to IncentiveCorp.com. Rickard Hansen here with us, and right before the break, we were about to get into what you guys are getting into in 2015, because in a business, especially like technology, it's not what do you do, it's what have you done lately. So what's going on in 2015?
Oh, 2015 is the year of growth, I would say. We're like super laser focused on getting more and more companies on board and using this, of course. So we invest in a lot in sales to increase the sales, and we also invest in a lot in what we call coaching. So we do help our clients in the beginning, like with coaching, for a lot of people who want to set a collaboration platform, they heard the story and it sounds great and the vision is great, but then you have the reality, and where should I begin? And then we have our coaches to help them, to get them up and running in a very short time, and then we help them progressively throughout the process to get it up and running and get people on board, and making sure we have an adoption, that people actually start using it on a regular basis. So the biggest challenge, or the horizon for 2015, is sales and adoption, getting more and more people on board.
Now,
actually, real quick, we actually just got a question from our live at computeramerica.com. This one from Chris Cruz. Again, if you don't mind answering a question, Rickard mentioned that this platform is very aligned with Microsoft. What does that mean? Do different Microsoft apps and platforms work with Incentive?
Yeah, exactly. So what that actually means is a lot of the existing platforms used today lack collaboration. Like if you're into sales and you're using a CRM, for example, Microsoft Dynamics, you need to collaborate with your coworkers, your salespeople, or everyone in the organization. Maybe you have this huge question, so a tricky question from a client that you have to address. Then you can ask all your coworkers in a very easy way through our collaboration platform. So what we do, we have this collaboration layer around any Microsoft platform you use, like SharePoint or Dynamics, Exchange. It could be Office 365, and so on and so forth. So that's what it means. So whatever you have already invested from a business perspective that you need, of course, we do integrate with. So we add that collaboration layer, so to speak.
Yeah. So I guess you chose Microsoft because, let's face it, Microsoft is very, very predominant in the the business world. Like 95% of everything is done with Microsoft programs. So you thought Microsoft would just be a great thing to focus your integration on. I don't know what your integration with Mac is, but it sounds like odds are if you're using some kind of Microsoft app or platform, what have you, you're going to have them covered.
Exactly, and Mac is, when you look into the client side, we can talk iPad, iPhones, and MacBooks, or we can talk PCs and Androids and so on and so forth. We work on all those platforms and devices because that's the client side. But if you look into the back office or the back end, of course, Microsoft is extremely strong with all their business aligned applications, as again SharePoint and Dynamics. Mac or Apple doesn't have that many like server-side applications, so that's where we're aligning ourselves to like making sure, like the water cooler effect again, the campfire, like whatever you have in place in the back office, we want to make that available. But then on the client side, on the go devices, mobile or laptops, it doesn't matter. You can use whatever you want.
Now, you said you're based out of Sweden. Have you discovered any differences about running a business like this here in the U.S., or are you pretty much since you're on the internet, it doesn't matter where you are?
Is it like the same thing but with like less herring?
Exactly, and my favorite herring is with the mustard. So you know that. No, but like we're not based in Sweden anymore. So we have actually flipped our company since a little bit more than a year ago. So the headquarters is actually in Venice, LA, and Los Angeles.
They have herring there too. They have
herring?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, actually. I found a couple of stores actually where I can buy some Swedish food. IKEA, for example.
Yes.
But so now we're actually based in the U.S. and that's like if we're looking again maybe to my previous ventures. So the thing I founded back in 2002, we became the second biggest vendor of CMS in Sweden for a couple of years in a row. But that was like worth nothing when the financial crisis hit us, and in terms of like it's so easy within quotes to work something up to be big in Sweden, but then you hit the roof or the ceiling too early. So I just decided very early on with incentive, just flip it, do the same amount of work, like sweat, blood, and tears, but do it in a market space that is like within quotes endless. So then we did the flip and moved everything to America. So we still have a Swedish presence in terms of engineers because the geeks back in Sweden, the engineers, they're really good. And the people I've been working with, I've been working for the last 7-8 years. So when we specify new features, we just look at each other, say some words, and then the specification is done. So it's mind reading nowadays in terms of creating our new features in the platform, which is great. So we still have Swedish presence, but the headquarters is in LA.
Yeah, but doesn't matter where you're from or what people find. As soon as you find good people, you don't want to give them up, no matter what. It's just they're your team, they're your guys. You get to keep them. So how's the Silicon Beach, LA tech startup? Because we hear all about Silicon Valley, and that's where all the tech startups are, but we never actually get to talk to anyone who's actually in the thick of it. Like, do you just stop for coffee and then you get in line behind 15 other small business owners, entrepreneurs, app makers? How is Silicon Valley out there?
Well, they got a really big water cooler.
Yeah, they have a huge water cooler. No, as I said, like as any other Swede, I was in 9.9 of 10 Swedes would choose and end up in Silicon Valley instead of Silicon Beach, which we did. And that's, I would say, pure coincidence. In the past, like I created a network of people in the LA area, and then we set up our base there. And now it turned out to be a very good thing because Silicon Beach or the startup tech scene is in LA nowadays the fastest growing in the whole States. It's the third biggest startup tech scene in the States, but it's for the moment it's the fastest growing one. So there's a lot of things going on, and it's not Silicon Beach. It's an old name that includes like Marina del Rey, Venice, and Santa Monica. But now it's like the whole startup scene is spread out through whole LA from west, like I said, Venice to east, downtown, and so on and so forth. So there's a huge movement in that area, and from my perspective, I'm very happy by the choice as well because it's so much cheaper. It's not as expensive up in San Francisco in the Bay Area. It's like 2-3 times more expensive to live, rent a place. It's 2 to 3 times more expensive to hire people. It's harder to find people. So a lot of things was very aligned, and the startup or the tech startup scene in LA is at this stage very transparent and open. There's very a feeling of you want to help each other, and you throw out tips to the left and right and connect people and getting you in touch with like investors or salespeople or suppliers of any kind. So it's a very we're going to build something new spirit going on now in the Silicon Beach area.
I'll be honest, it sounds like that club that now everyone knows about, everyone gets in, there's a huge line around the door, it's impossible to get in, and then another club opens up right down the street, and it's the owners of the original club, they sold the old one, got the new one, it's no one knows about it, but it's up and coming, friendly people. It's like, as soon as Silicon Valley, I guess, was discovered, you guys just went and, went to LA, and I mean, don't get me wrong, technology is just growing every single day. People get into the business all the time, but let's face it, it's just one place. Silicon Valley is just one place. So it sounds like Silicon Beach is going to be essentially a startup essentially a startup for startups.
Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment, actually. Yeah, it's a startup feeling, so to speak. We're not being just a startup. We together help building this startup ecosystem. So I guess the end goal is to create similar what you have up in Silicon Valley, like what you do have, like money created in that region or area is reinvested into the next venture and the next venture and the next venture. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see this exact same thing happening down in Silicon Beach or LA. Like, as soon as that ecosystem gets up and running, like, I don't know if you know, but Snapchat is now founded in LA and it's funded in LA or in that area. As soon as he gets his senses aligned, he will sell that sucker off, and then he will reinvest that then into the ecosystem, and then that will help the area grow, like Silicon Valley have been doing and continuously do, but not as fast at this stage as LA actually.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the dream, where maybe in the restaurant business or whatever business, there's always like the family business. In tech, I guess the dream is to create a great product, sell it to a Microsoft or Yahoo or some other big company, and go off and make a next project and go off and make your next millions. So and I didn't know that Snapchat was actually started there. That's huge. So obviously of good pedigree. Kind of getting a little bit more off topic, but we always like to learn about our guests as well. I mean, so why entrepreneur instead of the traditional career? Because don't get me wrong, there are so many people out there that are just trying to get into the tech industry, and so few are ready to jump in with both feet and say, okay, I'm going to start my own company here.
Yeah, I would say, as I said in the beginning of the interview, it was like a coincidence in the beginning, like, because everything just went down the drain in the IT business. So I started off my own business, but I would say my strongest driving force would say I have a problem with authority, which means like I don't want to answer to someone else.
You want to be your own boss. You want to be your own boss. Right?
I want to be. Yeah, I really want to be my own boss, and I'm always right. You can ask my coworkers; they're gonna laugh now if they hear this. But
hey, I know that person. I can relate. I'm the same way.
Right.
I'm the same way. I'm always right. I mean, I can relate. Exactly.
But no, I really, and also really want to create my own stuff, and quite the opposite to saying I'm always right. But like I'm perfectly fine by like having or being wrong, but I want to prove myself being wrong. Like I can run in the wrong direction for a while and then see, oh, that didn't work. Okay, like reassess and just do a little pivoting and run in another direction. But I really want to prove myself being wrong or right. So I want to try that out, like really stretch it and go for the vision you have in your head.
Yeah.
Perfect. And just one last thing that we want to ask you, it's obviously starting a new company, it's hard out there. What would you say are some of the harder things that you've had to face starting up your own business? Because a lot of our listeners either work for themselves or work pretty high up in a company. What are you facing out there?
Yeah, it's always, I would say, the biggest challenge for any company from the beginning is cash flow. Like you want to either be able to pay your rent or pay your own salary or pay your coworker's salary. So I say cash flow is, of course, the biggest challenge from the beginning, and you can do that in different ways. You can either create a product that sales, attract sales from day one, from the get-go, which I did with my first businesses. So we just had this way of working, like earn money, spend money. So let's sell as much as possible, and as soon as we have it on our bank, we can actually spend it on whatever we want to spend it, marketing or salaries or whatever. So I would say, like, for everyone, that you have to focus on the biggest challenge and the most important challenge for anyone setting up their business or have their business is to make sure you have sales working, whatever that is, and be very, very open-minded in terms of like not be so stubborn as I am time to time, like really listen to what the customer is saying and align your product, towards that, so you do an easier sell. Or you can do it the other way, which I'm doing now. We're like creating the business because it's a very high pace. It's like a fast-moving market segment or market space. So we have to invest. We have to get money in before, and then invest in, for example, sales and so on and so forth. So we have done some seed fundraising in last year, and we're going to do some more seed funding this year to grow the company. So that's another challenge, though, to get out there and meet investors, and because that's a completely different arena or persona to sell to. They see something completely different. They see the vision and the future and the possibility, but the client sees, what problem can you solve for me today? So it's completely different, sales, so to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds like when you're meeting investors, you're selling your company, who you are, what you're doing, and then to a customer, you're just selling a product and what your product can do. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always this mumbo jumbo, more or less, from the investment. They invest in the team and so on and so forth, and I would say that's true. I've been investing in some companies as well, and I would say the team is the most important, because the team is actually that's going to execute it and actually make it happen. But of course, they look into the market space in its whole as well. Like, is there a future in this space? Is this too many competitors? Is it too crowded? But I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, Ricard, I want to thank you for being with us here and telling us about Incentive. And again, you can go look at the website itself. It's incentivecorp.com. However, just go to computeramerica.com, click on our show notes button, and you'll see today's show. It's February the 9th, and you'll see Ricard's name there and Incentive. And we have a link to the website, and you can check it out for yourself. Ricard, I want to thank you so much for being with us here tonight. Very interesting, and the best of luck with you and your endeavors.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure, sir. You have a good evening, and good night.
Good night.
The same.
Hey, bye-bye.
Good night.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. So there you go. Interesting event. Slightly different take, but certainly interesting. Collaboration, but for business. Social collaboration on a business scale.
I'm all for killing email. Email is such a slow way to communicate, especially since instant messaging came about. I'm surprised that no one's trying to kill it faster.
Yeah, well, there you go. Listen, we have
You
a
don't
couple.
think so?
Yeah, I think so. I still like email though. I don't want to. You can't get it away from it. You're always going to need.
Like email is for certain things. Email gets you by. It's going to be. Email is going to be what snail mail is today, but what's better than texting someone? It's instant. They can read it. They can get back to you whenever. And email will always have its place. There's always going to be a picture you need to send someone. But in a workplace where communication is key, email is not the best way to go anymore. So I'm glad our guest came on to talk about exactly that.
Yeah, collaboration is very important. That's one of the things that Doodle is all about. One of our sponsors. That it's about collaboration. Don't use email. They just but it's designed for
Actually, they do use email.
What?
Doodle uses.
Yeah, well, but the point is
Doodle will email you the link, and then you can send it to anyone, and then you get a link back to the product or back to the page, and then you select what time. It's a very simple to use, easy tool, but it still uses email.
Okay.
I don't want to fool anyone into thinking, oh yeah, no, you don't need email.
All right. Well, listen, we have a few minutes, so why don't we do a couple of quick news stories, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, tonight's Computer America news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. And this first story, real quick, from Hot Hardware, I sat up and took notice. An Ethernet cable claims earth-shattering advancement in audio fidelity, which is very interesting. And it only costs $10,000. $10,000 Ethernet cable claims earth-shattering advancement in audio fidelity, and this is a direct quote from Hot Hardware, if you're stupid enough to buy it. Okay. There are a few markets that are quite as loaded up with snake oil products as audio and video. He says, I am sure that by me simply saying that, you immediately thought of Monster, one of the most infamous offenders, Monster cables. He says, we actually had him on the show a few years back. But believe it or not, there are some vendors that push the envelope so far that Monster's $100 HDMI cables look like a bargain by comparison. Take AudioQuest's high-end Ethernet cable, for example, called Diamond. AudioQuest is promising the world with this $10,500 cable, and if for some reason you believe that an Ethernet cable is completely irrelevant for audio, you might want to listen to what the company has to say. This is a quote directly from the literature. AudioQuest Diamond cable is a directional Ethernet cable made with the same hallmark materials, philosophy, care, and attention that is applied to all their interconnects, whether it's an entry-level introduction to hi-fi or a dyed-in-the-wool music connoisseur. Another upgrade with Diamond is a complete plug redesign, opting for an ultra-performance RJ45 connector made from silver with tabs that are virtually unbreakable. The plug comes with added strain relief and firmly lock into place, ensuring no critical data is lost. That's a direct quote from the company. It's too bad AudioQuest limits itself to just audio, because descriptions like that would prove a welcome sight in other markets. Just imagine how tempting it would be to own a 100% solid paper clips made with uncompromising materials that take no nonsense approach to holding paper together. He says, there are a bunch of promises made here, but the one that stands out the most to the author here is the directional aspect. This isn't just mentioned once, but it's all over the place. The cable even comes complete with arrows to make certain that the data will flow in the right direction. I guess that we can just ignore the fact that Ethernet cables are bidirectional, the same on both ends. If that wasn't the case, data couldn't be written back to the network device. It just could be read from it. Also interesting is the promise of 100 gigabits per second speeds over 100 meters, a spec that's currently impossible in a retail product. Not that it matter anyway. A 5-minute 24-bit 44 hertz track could be loaded at the source in its entirety within half a second on a standard 1 gigabit per second connection. These selling points make me wish I could see just how many of these cables have been sold, and also whether or not that particular feature had helped push the sale. Bottom line, he says the company still has a 10-foot version available on Amazon for only $2,194.75. He says you need to get your head checked first if you're interested, of course. I'm sure it doesn't need to be said, but AudioQuest's super expensive diamond cable would make no difference whatsoever in the setup. Bits are bits, after all. Once those bits reach their destination, they're the same regardless of the cable being used. Also, it's not as though music streams in real time over a network. Audio players constantly buffer the currently playing track to prevent skipping in the event of network interruption. To reiterate, when we're dealing with digital bits, the cable doesn't matter as long as it works. But facts like that don't matter to everyone. Okay? Here's an excerpt from a professional review. The perceived differences between the vodka, diamond, cinnamon, and Cat 5 cables are plainly apparent and easy to hear. I'd sum up these differences as more. You get an increasingly large sound picture as you move up the line, greater differentiation between sonic elements, and a greater sense of clarity. I would classify these changes as being better in each case.
What?
That's what this reviewer said.
I know, but
yeah.
What? No, trust me. I know a lot of jargon, and some of the differences you get an increasingly large sound picture.
Yeah, it's okay. Not. He was pointing it out that it's erroneous, but it was this professional review was invalid. But the guy said that it was he could hear a difference.
No. This reviewer was like he's plugging how he feels about these cables and the differences between them, and he was actually reviewing the different levels of cables, and he's saying that you get an increasingly large sound picture and greater differentiation between sonic elements, which is nothing. So
hey, There's an update to this article. If you're really interested, AudioQuest makes a 16-meter braided HDMI cable for only $13,499.75. The reviews are priceless, though. What is steel?
I've heard about the $13,500 HDMI cable. The reviews are actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. How you could be suckered into something like that.
Someone said that $13,499. Dang it! I paid $14,000 for mine. I'm so disappointed I didn't wait for the sale.
Exactly.
Don't pay more than you have to. All cables are the same. Pay whatever the cheapest is, and you're going to be golden.
Well, exactly. Hey, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have a company called Sitelock. You need to get them on the phone, Ben, I guess, right? You need to call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably should. While you do that, they have a service that actually finds and removes malware from anywhere on your site, and we're going to be talking about that. And in the meantime, head over to ComputerAmerica.com. Our contest is still in full swing. Check out our contest page at ComputerAmerica.com. Under the Interact pull-down menu, we have two great contests. The Logitech contest, which goes through February the 27th, and midnight. Get your entry in. The registration form is right there on that same page. Third place prize is the Logitech HD Webcam C310. Second place is the Logitech G400S optical gaming mouse. And the grand prize is the Logitech X300 mobile wireless stereo speaker, valued at $70. Again, get your entry in. It's it's right there. You click the submit button, and you're done. And while you're there, enter in our subscribe to our weekly email newsletter, the show reminder. You should have gotten it this morning at 9 a.m. Okay, just put your email address, your first and last name, hit the subscribe button, and it'll send you a confirmation email to which you must reply, and you're done. And everything's completely private, and it's all free. Enter in all of our contests. You'll have a lot of fun doing so, and and maybe you'll win something really nice. Okay, we're going to take a quick short break, and then we're going to continue on. Our guest is Sitelock. Stay with us. We'll be right back momentarily.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, I want to thank our first hour guest, Incentive, Richard Hassan, who was the CEO of Incentive. Interesting interview. And again, if you missed any of that, we archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com, and you can listen to them, and also you can watch them too. We archive not only the audio but the video as well, so you can see everything, and it's all at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the archives page, and you can check it out for yourself. All right, so I think we're ready for our second hour guest, and we're going to start that momentarily. And as I kind of teased it, the name of the company is called Sitelock. Now, Sitelock finds and removes malware from anywhere on your website. Their protective firewall prevents harmful visitors from entering your site, and if a manual intervention is needed, Sitelock's security experts get your website back online in a hurry. I'd like that. Now, joining us in this hour is Neil Feather. He is the president of Sitelock.com. Neil, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thanks, Craig. Thanks for having me on.
Glad so. So, you hear about anti-malware products and to prevent viruses and all the different things that malware presents. But you're really doing this from a slightly different perspective. are you not? And tell us a little bit more about Sitelock itself and how it works and how it actually comes, what it does.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I think you're right. I think when people normally think of malware and think of virus protection, they're thinking of their home PC, and some of the products that they may have installed there to help block threats and clean up issues that happen on their PC.
Sure.
We do take it from a different route. So at Sitelock, we're actually interested in protecting websites. So if you own a website or your company has a website, we can help those businesses protect their online presence. So what we've seen over the past maybe 5 or 10 years is that as desktop antivirus has become very popular and very good, people have started to move their attacks to other vulnerable targets, and websites are a great target for hackers if you want to think about it that way. It's a unique challenge to be able to protect a website. It's the one part of your corporate network that you want to expose to the outside world, that you want people to interact with, and so it has to be visible and interactive for customers, but it also gives kind of an open door for folks who might want to attack you to have access to your network. So what we've seen is definitely a move from attacks aimed at endpoints and PCs specifically to those aimed at websites. And the cyber criminals or hackers, what do you want to call them, are still interested in the same things. They're interested in data, they're interested in computing resources to launch additional attacks, or nowadays mine bitcoins or something like that. But what we found is that websites have become a preferred target for those folks to be able to get the same types of resources that they've traditionally gotten from home PCs in the past.
Now, I understand the premise, but I need to ask you some questions here. I'm sort of going to back up a little bit here, but I understand the general idea is that you have a website. Sitelock is going to come in and protect that website from denial of service attacks or anything that could sort of bad happen to that website. And I want to get into how it is that you did that, and what keys do I, as an owner of a website, do I need to hand over to Sitelock to make sure that my website is protected? But let me ask you this. I mean, you work with all websites. I mean, there like, for example, there are website services out there that let you build your own websites. Like Wix.com comes to mind, where you can go and build something. Do you work with things like that, or do those companies themselves provide similar services? Speak a little bit about that.
Sure. Some of the companies, who are offering builders do provide some security services. We do the work with a number of different companies that have website builders, and we work with them directly, and we also have customers of theirs who come to us for additional types of protection that may not be offered by the builder themselves.
Okay.
So it definitely depends on the builder, but we are compatible with any of those solutions. So we are, Sitelock is a cloud-based security solution, so we don't actually install any software on the server. We don't need to install hardware in your data center.
Okay.
Everything runs through the cloud. So with that in mind, we're compatible with almost any website.
Okay. Well, so then describe to me the process. Let's say I have a website, whatever it is. What information do I have to give to Sitelock? In other words, for them to institute the protection. I mean, when I put in my website name, does it first go through your service, or is your service kind of monitoring it in parallel? Give us a little bit of the procedure, what I have to do to get my website, whatever it might be, to protected by Sitelock.
Sure, yeah. So we have a solution that helps website owners find, fix, and prevent issues on their website. We also accelerate the site through use of a content delivery network, or CDN. So in order to take advantage of the full suite of products, we need a couple of pretty easy setup steps. And because we have customers at Sitelock, all the way from kind of single owner businesses or personal sites all the way up to enterprises, we offer our website customers the opportunity for us to do the setup for them or for them to do their own setup. It really depends on their level of technical comfort and ability to do that, on their own. But we're happy to help them set that up. So what we do is we provide a solution to help identify and remove malware. So in order to do that, we just need to know what domain you want us to protect, and then give us a way to access your website. So, we do that through a number of different protocols, including FTP and rsync and other kind of things like that, we actually can access the files and remove any malware that we find within the website. Then from a preventive perspective, we actually, there's a reverse proxy for the website, and we actually will, change the DNS of the website to first go through our server so that we can block any threats that come in. So they don't actually make it to the web server; they're getting blocked out on the edge.
All right, so that's what I thought. So basically, you're redirecting. In other words, if it's mywebsite.com, you go to the domain name server and redirect that first through your service, and then to the actual website. So you're kind of in between that to make sure everything is moving smoothly. Is that basically what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. So we're seeing those potential threats before they actually reach your web server and can cause any harm. And we're doing a number of different, analytical techniques to identify any issues that or any potential threats that may come in. And we block somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.5 million threats on any given day to our website customers.
Wow. So let's say let's say I take my website and it's going to your. We change it so the DNS server points to your website, which then points to my website. So there's an additional step, although it's obviously moments, so you probably don't even notice it. And then someone tries to do a denial of service attack on mine. So all of a sudden they start bombarding my website with thousands and thousands of of requests. How does Sitelock protect my website? Because obviously now you're in front of that and you're going to be seeing all of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of things there. One is, you mentioned the idea of latency, and because of exactly that concern, what we actually do is that runs on top of a content delivery network, or CDN. So we're actually accelerating the site by caching all of that as much content as we can out at the edge of the network, so that we are able to serve that much closer to the end user and actually make the site faster than it was before using Sitelock.
That's interesting. I mean, you wouldn't think that intuitively. You wouldn't think that's the case. It's just you always think, oh, it's another step, and that's going to slow things down. You're saying that's not the case.
Yeah. So what happens is, for a lot of the requests to the website, the web server, we don't actually even need to go back to the place where you're hosting your website to get that information. If the content hasn't changed, we just serve it off of the edge, off the CDN, and that just gets out to the customer that much faster, because it doesn't have to go all the way back to the origin server. We're just serving it from the closest point of presence that we have to that end customer. So if they're in New York, we don't go all the way to LA to your data center. We serve it out of New York.
Okay, all right. So let's continue on with this. So basically, you're doing this. You're speeding things up by doing this, and now institutes a denial of service attack on my website. Well, how does Sitelock help me or prevent that from happening?
Sure. Yeah. So what we do is we, because we're sitting in the middle, we actually will block that traffic, most of it before it even gets to your server. So we're looking for evidence that that traffic is automated and not human, and once we see that, we're actually going to block that, knock that down, and not give them access to the site. So at that point, we're protecting the server. It's never really seeing that DDoS traffic that's coming through, that is being blocked out on the edge by identifying malicious requests and also malicious actors who we know are perpetrating these types of attacks.
So while this attack is going on, another person trying to get to my website, which is protected by Sitelock, that other person is going to be able to get right to my site and not even know that a DDoS is happening at that point, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so the way it works is, as a website owner, you can kind of configure this, or we can configure it for you, but the product will actually what it does is it issues a series of tests to the visitor, whether that be this attacker or a regular human. And so it will look for, evidence that that's either an automated visitor trying to do damage, or that that's a human. And this all happens kind of seamlessly without the users knowing it. Now, in an extreme case, we may ask folks to fill out a CAPTCHA, but that's a very, very low percentage of the traffic that actually gets there. And so for most of the visitors, as you mentioned, they don't even notice that it's happening. They're just being served the site as if nothing were going on.
But isn't CAPTCHA kind of antiquated itself? I know they're trying to change the CAPTCHA because they're saying it really isn't effective in identifying a live person. I mean, the systems are getting so sophisticated that they can recognize CAPTCHAs and kind of spoof it and go right through. So.
Yeah, so that's kind of, as I said, a last resort. So we're using a number of different techniques before we even get to that. But again, as a last resort, we will potentially throw a CAPTCHA up there. And the key is to be constantly changing what you're doing there to make sure that you're kind of one step ahead on the CAPTCHA recognition. To your point.
Right. Okay. So and how? So okay. So tell me a little bit about Sitelock itself. How long has the service been up and running? How long have you been in business?
So we started the company in 2008, and really went to market in 2009. At this point, we have about 1.5 million customers on the platform. So we add another 50 to 60,000 new customers every month to the service. So it's been interesting to see how the market has adopted this, and we see a lot more educated business owners now coming to us, that know that they need security for their website. We started the company, that wasn't something people really thought about at all, and it's been nice to see, as Sitelock has grown, the awareness of that problem has also grown, and it's been interesting to see that threat, like we talked about at the beginning, kind of moving away from endpoint-based solutions to websites as the preferred kind of target of attackers.
All right. Well, I want to get more into the technology here, but why don't we just kind of sit back and tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on the state of the industry right now in terms of the number of attacks and breaches and companies' preparedness these days.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of contrary to what I said there, there's still a lot of folks who aren't taking the proper steps to protect themselves. Whether that be large enterprises, like say Anthem, who's made the news last week about large-scale data breach there, or their problems are very different from the types of folks who maybe have a smaller business and really think that they couldn't be attacked. And so we do unfortunately run into a lot of website owners, large and small, who are coming to us, after the fact to try to recover from an issue or a breach, rather than being proactive about it. So, we definitely have seen the education level raised over the past, 6 or 7 years since we've been really doing this, but there's still a long way to go in terms of awareness and being proactive on protecting the site.
So Neil, what you're saying then is that had companies that were recently in the news, like the Target breach and all these different things, are you saying they could have avoided all of that had they been using Sitelock?
Well, it depends on the vector of attack, right? So in Target's case, they were getting compromised out on, point of service machines in their retail stores. So that's not something we really deal with. At Sitelock,
okay. All right. But
exclusively focused on the website, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, folks who have gotten in through websites, definitely that's something where we can help out with. If it's more of a phishing type of attack or, something that is like POS driven, then, that's really not Sitelock's area of expertise. We're definitely focused on the website itself.
We have a friend of the show, Charles Sandell. He is a certified ethical hacker, and he actually does Craig, what's it called when people they do like stress testing, but it's not stress. It's they test a company's vulnerability to hacking and like. Do you ever get customers who say, I do testing for companies and that and they want to use your products to maybe enhance people's security or along those lines?
I can't think of the name. It's some sort of not. I'm thinking.
Are you thinking penetration testing?
Penetration testing. Thank you.
Yes. There we go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have all different kinds of folks who leverage our products and services, including, other security companies who offer it as, an add-on where maybe they're focused on, endpoint security and they use Sitelock, to help with website security. We also work with a lot of website providers who, give their customers Sitelock as a way to help them protect their website, that maybe they just bought that domain from a registrar or a web hosting company, and we work with a lot of folks to provide an additional service, an additional layer of security on top of what they're already offering to their customers. So absolutely, we work with various different parties in that space to to resell or offer our products through a different channel.
Really, that is interesting. Typically, what does something like this cost? You offer many different services, or do you have one kind of fits all? I mean, how do you break down your Sitelock's protection services?
Yeah, so we have a range of different products and services, and it really depends on the needs of that business or that website owner. So we have products that start at $20 a year, and we have products that we sell for a few $1,000s a year. A few $1,000s a month. So it really depends on the type of need set that customer has, and how they're looking to secure their website. We may be working in complementary with other providers, or we may be taking over more of a managed security role, in which case, obviously the price points change given where we are on that spectrum.
Well, if I come to you as a Sitelock, I mean, how do you approach that? You put them in touch with one of your salespeople, and then they sit down and kind of review what it is they have, and then they say, okay, well, we think that you need Plan B, or you need Plan A, or we need this or that. I mean, who determines that? Or do you have consulting services for your sales? How does one go about it?
Yeah, so you're right. So when someone wants to engage with us at Sitelock, we put them in touch with a sales representative and a solution engineer. If we need to get very technical with them on the initial calls, then we walk through kind of what's their website doing, how do they use it, what are the risks that they're facing, and then based on that assessment and also what other products they may be using, we'll put together a outline of these are the various different products that you may have. We can either replace these, or we can work in parallel with these other ones. So here are some options, and kind of work with the website owner to determine what's the right level of security. Every you guys know you're in the computer business. When you talk about security, it's really about risk mitigation, right? There's unfortunately no 100% solution. So we work with customers to understand, what type of risk profile they're looking to meet, and then we will design a solution to, work within that risk profile and how they want to manage the security of their website given that.
Okay, well, Neil, then why don't you give me let's say your top 3 to 5 recommendations for companies to ensure they're prepared for an attack or a breach? What would you say? What would you do?
I think if I were going to list 3 things that folks should be thinking about to be prepared for a breach,
3 to 5.
It would be 3 to 5. Okay, so I'll try to limit it to 3, and maybe I'll give you some additional bullets in there. But one of the things that we see all the time is people, technology, and then preparedness, right? So you really need your people to be trained on security practices. Most of the time when you see these breaches take place, it's because they were able to gain access through an employee a lot of times. And
you're talking about social engineering then?
Social engineering, a lot of the phishing attacks that take place, those are your people are your first line of defense, whether they're customer service or technology. We try to train our folks to be what we call human firewalls, so that they're, that first line of stopping would-be attackers at the gate.
Okay, all right.
Then, technology. So, obviously it's important to make sure that you have processes in place to be updating software, to the latest versions. Keeping track of your inventory of hardware and who your users are, and then leveraging all the different security solutions that make sense. Obviously, at Sitelock, we're in the website business, so there's a lot of products, whether they be malware identification, vulnerability scanning, web application firewalls, DDoS mitigation that you mentioned. Those are the things that you need to be thinking about from a website. When you talk about the endpoints, there's their own set of security products that make sense. So I think it's the marriage of your technical piece as well as making sure that your people are properly trained. And then I talk about preparedness. It's good to be ready for if something should happen. How do you want to be prepared for that? Who are the people on your team who should be involved? What agencies are you going to work with externally? At what point is that all going to happen? And really kind of doing some exercises to be ready in case something does occur that is unexpected.
Well, okay, but most of the things that you've kind of given me as examples, though, are preparedness things. They're not really the technology that Sitelock. I mean, your Sitelock's not going out to my company and saying, okay, you need to do this and social. You're not doing that training. I mean, that's something that you're recommending. But I would think, in other words, where Sitelock seems to come in is where you're actually applying technology to protect the website above and beyond the people and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So that's the technical piece I alluded to there. That's a very important piece. I think the thing that we try to educate our customers on is it's not the only thing that you need to be worried about, right? So we have at Sitelock very good products to help you protect the website from those types of external threats. But you want to be thinking about it from your overall business risk perspective. So there are things outside of the website that we want to make sure people are aware of. But you're right. I mean, at Sitelock, we deal with the website, so we want people to be ready for malware on their website, being aware of when that happens and how they can remove it. Making sure that they're blocking attacks using a web application firewall. And then really identifying vulnerabilities and fixing those vulnerabilities before someone else finds them and takes advantage of them.
And that's what you're doing there. And I said, well, I'm not trying to pin you down, but I want to get an idea. I mean, it's all good stuff, but I just want to find out, because you mentioned it can be what $20 a year, or it could be $1,000 a month. So I want to find out if that's a very wide gap. So I want to figure out the typical person, that entry level. Why don't you kind of explain a little bit what it is that you offer, or suggest, and what they get for, let's say, that $20 a month, $20 a year, and then go from there, and then say, okay, now that's the first thing that we offer, and then we go into we add more, and this. Can you give us a little bit of a breakdown as to what Sitelock offers with these actual services?
Yeah, sure. So at $20 a year, what we're really doing is providing what we would consider an alarm system for your website. So we're going to tell you if we see anything that looks amiss with the site. This is a good value for people who are just getting started, or kind of they know they need something and they want to get their website up and running, but not make a big investment into it. As you go up and start talking about proactively blocking threats and removing malware on the fly and those kinds of things, that moves up to maybe $100, a couple $100 a month. When you want us to, absorb larger DDoS, then that's when you start getting into the higher price packages. But we also couple into that, effectively a managed website security solution, so we can actually take the onus off of the organization to manage the security of their website, where we'll do that for them in a managed fashion. And that's when you start to see a little bit higher price point, because we are actually putting people to work on that on a daily basis. Okay.
So I'm going to the Sitelock website here, and I hit the thing that says prices and plans and pricing, so I can get it, and I see some of the different things here. Now you offer secure speed. That's $99 a month. That's not $20 a year. It's $99 a month. So I'm already into. Are those the only? Then you have the most popular. How many actual plans do you have? I see 4 here right now in this packages.
Yeah, so that's what we sell to our customers who come to us directly. So when I talk about packages that are $20 a year, a lot of those are ones that we're offering through partners who have a lot of customers who are just starting out.
Sure.
When people are coming to our website, they're typically a little bit further along in the maturity of their site, so they're looking for more sophisticated, larger solutions.
Okay.
And that's why you see the differentiation there.
And that's good. I accept it. All right, so let's start with secure speed. That's $99 a month, $99 a month. let's go a little bit of a comparison chart. The next one is Secure Site, which is the most popular. But let's start with Secure Speed. I sign up for Secure Speed. What am I going to get from Sitelock?
So you're getting the malware identification, malware removal, vulnerability scanning, and you're also getting the basic web application firewall as well, which is going to block your automated types of threats. And you're also getting the CDN to help accelerate your website. There are some other things that go along with that, but those are the big bullets.
I see basic DDoS protection. Now, what is basic DDoS? Denial of service. What is the basic protection of DDoS?
So it depends on the type of denial of service attack as well as the size. So as you're wanting to protect against more sophisticated and more and larger types of attacks, you're going to kind of move right on that chart. And so that's the idea of the various different plans that we have there.
Okay. So the most popular then is called Secure Site. That's $199 a month. Again, to me, that's extremely reasonable. Now, it's called Secure Speed Plus. Tell us what this offers.
Yeah, so we've got everything that you got in Secure Speed, plus we're adding additional web application firewall functionality, and some protection against manual types of attacks that may happen against your website. So beyond just automated bot type attacks, this is looking at if someone's looking to compromise your site. So it's good for website owners who have a dynamic website, a sophisticated website that they want to protect. They want to accelerate the performance of the site, and are not really using e-commerce. Once they start using e-commerce, that's when we would look for them to get into a secure store type plan where we offer PCI compliant services as well.
Let's back up. Okay, I want to get back to the Secure Site. You also offer something called infinity scanning, which I find, but we're at the bottom of the hour break, and so why don't we continue on with the different plans that you offer at Sitelock, okay? And then Neil, we'll get back to it, okay? You're listening to the Computer America show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. Fascinating conversation with Neil Feather, who is the president of Sitelock.com. Quite an amazing service. I'm finding this very
sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds really good. And we'll continue on with him. We got another News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. Yet another way to say hello. All that coming up here on Computer America. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Who said that? It's Marty Winston with another News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Thumbs Up touch speaker boombox. It's mostly cylindrical, about the size of a can of kidney beans, with flat sections at the top and bottom. Inside, a USB rechargeable battery powers it.
They say kidney
Thumbs
beans?
Up calls it the touch speaker boombox. When you place your handset on the top, with the handset speaker near the rear of the flat area, something couples the signal driving the speaker in your handset into the amplifier in the boombox, and the boombox 3-inch speaker up front drives the bigger sound into the room. It's a cool trick, but the thing that makes it worth doing is that the sound that comes out of it is quite good. It will take you a few tries to figure out the sweet spot for your handset. Also, the handset volume control is the only one in play here. And if you turn it up too much, what you hear will sound distorted. It's just about always happens when you turn things up too much. Bottom line, the Thumbs Up touch speaker boombox is a cool way to get a big sweet sound out of a handset with no pairing or cables required. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that. 33 minutes past the hour, we are talking to Neil Feather and Sitelock. And I actually have a question. Sometimes when you go on websites, you aren't really sure what they're using, if it's just HTTPS or what have you. Is there anything to kind of let people know if a website is being protected by a company like Sitelock?
So for us at Sitelock, we offer all of our customers a trust seal, a badge to place on their website that lets folks know that they are protected by our service.
Okay.
And we will, if you click on the badge, it'll actually give you a little bit more detail about what what services we're providing for that site. But yeah, we do offer that, as a kind of an additional layer of assurance for customers who are coming to your website.
Sure.
A lot of website owners like to use that. We've done some studies on it with website owners. It definitely helps them increase conversion on their website. It gives them their visitors, I should say, a little bit more trust in, just a website that they may not be familiar with. It's been verified by a third party to be secure.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you have these alarms.
Protected by ADT.
Yeah, they put the alarm. This home is protected by ADT or Honeywell services or whatever. Some people though elect not to put them up. I don't know why, because they don't want to. They want to advertise that they've got
Same
something to
people
protect.
who like surprise parties.
Yeah, or they just don't want people to know that they have something valuable to protect. So, they're putting an alarm system on it. Well, maybe this justifies us checking the house out.
Yes, the old reverse psychology. You put a sign out in your front yard and say, "We don't even have locks on our doors."
Yeah, our door is wide open. Come on in, help yourself. Yeah, exactly. No, and then the police are waiting behind the door. No, I know. It makes. I guess it makes sense. I mean, you see all these different things that are out there, trusted sites, and they're some of them are very well known. So it would make sense that Sitelock would have some sort of a logo on that people can then click on and to see that they're protected. Do you find that most people of your customers use the Sitelock logo on their homepage or somewhere on their website?
It depends on the site and what their goals are for the website. We see people use it, especially a lot in e-commerce, where they're really interested in conversion rates. And they find that having our badge on there will help them, drive conversion with the Sitelock badge. If folks are more, our perspective is it matters what's behind the badge more than it matters, actually showing the badge. So, we definitely have it as a benefit. People definitely use it. Mostly the folks who use it tend to be, like I said, e-commerce type companies that are, looking for that conversion edge. All
right, so why don't you tell us? I mean, we've talked about all the different things, and I want to go more into different plans here. But we didn't. But the other question that jumps to my mind here is, in your own words, why don't you tell our listeners what makes Sitelock different from other internet security firms, like comprehensive solutions versus an a la carte solution, which is what you do, and why is this important?
So yeah, so we want to be able to provide the entire security around the website. And to us that's important because we have then for website owners one place for them to manage everything. And if they have any questions or concerns, we give them one phone number to call. We offer 24/7 U.S.-based phone support for all of our customers. And we feel like being able to have all that under one roof, from scanning to vulnerability repairs to web app firewalls and the like, gives you, it all works together, and it all gives the website owner a very simple way to manage the security of their site. We love it if website security was all people thought about every day. We realize that it's not, so we want to make it as easy as we possibly can for customers. And because we are working with all these different, you can go out and get point solutions for any one of those things, but by providing them all together, we're able to have them work together and talk to each other so that your web application firewall isn't blocking your vulnerability scanner, and you're actually able to get value out of both at the same time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the different plans here. We talked the most popular secure site that's $199 a month, and you offer something called Infinity Scanning. What is Infinity Scanning?
So Infinity Scanning is our malware removal product we call Smart. It's going to, with the Infinity Scan, it's basically real-time malware removal. So it's running nonstop to make sure that anytime any potential malware gets into your site, it's removing it on the fly in real time. So with our Smart packages that don't include the Infinity Scan, it runs once a day, and it's cleaning up the website once a day. With Infinity, it's running in real time all day long.
Really? So no matter, because you never know when you're going to get infected, or your site could get infected. I mean, you see it all the time. Was it the government gets, they'll go to the website, and the site will get hijacked, and they'll get little skull and crossbones, and you'll see. So you prevent that from happening on a 24-hour basis with Infinity, all these different things, right?
Exactly, yeah. So, we recommend to website owners a layered approach, right? We like we talked about, it's about risk mitigation, and while nothing's 100%, you want to have those layers. So, we have the web application firewall, then we have the Infinity Scanning. So if malware gets through from a different vector, maybe your FTP credentials get compromised or something like that, we're able to clean up any malicious files that would come into the website. So on one hand we're blocking it, and then we're also cleaning up anything that finds its way in there through maybe a different vector. So we feel like having all of those solutions in place is important, as well as really looking at what vulnerabilities you have in the website, and we can work with you to actually patch those vulnerabilities, beyond just the web application firewall, but really at the code level, in terms of making sure that those holes are plugged at the source.
And what if the people that you're dealing with, that you're finding this, actually turns out that they're using one of these website creation services, and the problem then isn't with that. Could the problem not be necessarily with them, but it could be with the service, and then you point that out, and then you call the service? I mean, what do you do in cases like that?
Yeah, I mean, there are of course responsible disclosures that we would make from time to time, depending on where we're identifying issues. Certainly, open source software is a popular target for attackers, and we're finding vulnerabilities there and patching them with our customers, both in terms of virtual patching through the web application firewall, but also in code-based patching through our vulnerability remediation team. So yeah, that happens from time to time, and we'll let folks know who are kind of building the platforms, and we'll also in parallel work with the site owner to clean up any vulnerabilities on their site.
Okay, now let's move to the next thing here, because let's say now my website, I want to do some e-commerce. I want to sell some things on I want to sell products or services on my website. So at that point, then I would probably go to the next level, which is Secure Store, which was the next level of what you offer.
Right. So yeah. So once you get into e-commerce, that one of the requirements to do e-commerce is that you comply with the standards set forth by the payment card industry, or we call PCI. So that's a consortium of the major card companies, Visa, MasterCard, et cetera, that have put forth rules that say, these are the things that you have to do in order to accept credit cards. So, one of the things that you need to do is have your website scanned for vulnerabilities. You also need to answer a number of questions about your security practices. And so those are some of the things that we provide in Secure Store is obviously the scanning service, assistance with answering those questions, and a very kind of quick way to get through the PCI compliance process. We also, provide a web application firewall and CDN that is PCI certified. So when you're using that product, you have fulfilled one of the requirements of PCI, which is running a web application firewall, and we provide reporting out that says, you've actually had that running for the time period of that PCI audit, so you can provide that to your PCI auditor or your merchant provider to say, hey, we're compliant, and this is the proof that we've been compliant during this time. So that's what you get in Secure Store.
Okay, and that's $2.99 a month. Again, sounds reasonable. And then the next thing I see here, Level, is you got something called Secure VIP, and that says call for a quote. So now what is this? The multi-levels? I mean, I see you offer advanced CDOS protection. I mean, what happens at this point? I mean, is this where you sort of custom put together a custom protection package, or what happens with Secure VIP?
Yeah, that's right. So that's where we're going to have our, our concierge service working with the customer to determine what product is right for them and really coming up with a custom package that makes sense for that company. And we start offering a lot more services and a lot more, these are going to be a little more mature sites, folks who may be a little bit more technically inclined or really want that additional security to be provided by a third party like ourselves. So, we're doing things like you see advanced DDoS protection. We have something we call True Code, which actually looks at your source code and identifies any vulnerabilities within the source code, tells you what line number the vulnerability is in, and gives you remediation instructions on how to fix it. So if you're technically inclined and you want to write code, you can very easily fix those, or if you want us to do it, we can do that for you as well.
Okay, and that depends on what package or what services that my company hires you to do, obviously.
Exactly.
By the way, I'm on your site, and I noticed as I scroll up and down, you have that little stationary badge that says Sitelock Secure. Is that what you're talking about? Little check mark?
Yeah. How were you able to get Sitelock Secure to secure you? That's crazy.
We eat our own dog food, so
You know somebody up there in the company, I guess, right? Okay, exactly.
Exactly.
And also, nice callback with the phrase. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. You even offer a chat, online chat, if you don't want to call for some reason. You want to do that. And your business evidently is not only here in the U.S., but it's international as well. Are there any particular issues that come up when you're dealing with international companies, Neil?
We provide, again, everything is cloud-based. So we have a global network. We work in 10 different languages for our dashboard. So all of that's provided on a global basis. And there are certainly different privacy rules and things like that when you go to Europe and other countries. But we've done a lot of work to make sure that we're complying with those standards.
Well, obviously, you seem like a really knowledgeable guy on this stuff. Give us a little. What is your background? I mean, do you do the technical stuff, or do you hire people to do it, and you just do the marketing? What's your background in this, Neil?
And they don't let me near that anymore. So I'm a frustrated techie, I guess. So I started. I had a number of different kind of coding jobs through junior high school, college. And went down a IT path out of college. I was always kind of interested in data and, especially kind of solving problems through data and analytics. And that's what I did for, the first 10 years of my career at Johnson & Johnson. I was working with, kind of data problems there, mostly on like the pharmaceutical area around, trying to analyze, big large chunks of data to predict, different changes in the market, different changes in sales patterns, things of that sort, pricing data, that sort of thing. And the parallel here is, we're scanning million plus websites, so we're seeing we get a ton of data. And the question is, how do you identify what's, an attack or what is a new compromise from all the other things? So, being able to address those problems has kind of transitioned throughout my career, and being, kind of statistically focused on it. And, obviously when we founded Sitelock, we've brought on some great security people who, manage all the rules and all the scanning and that sort of thing, and I'm more focused now on the business side of it, and how do we apply that security thinking to the marketplace to give products and solutions that work best for our customers.
But come on, you got to miss it. You got to get your feet wet a little bit. You got to go in there from time to time. They don't let you dabble at all.
No, they keep me away from it. They actively keep me away from it.
Oh, that's no fun. Okay.
And unfortunately, I'm dealing with security guys, so it's really hard for me to get in.
Okay. Tell us a bit about where you see Sitelock going, from here. I mean, next year, next 2 years. What direction do you want to take the company?
Yeah, I mean, our mission is to protect every site on the internet, and we think we have a range of solutions that can provide that for everyone from the smallest site to the largest site out there. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we've really seen a trend toward including website security when websites are purchased, very similar to how you get security for your laptop when you buy a new PC. So, we want to be that provider, and we've made some good headway in that space, and we're continuing to grow very aggressively. We think we'll have probably, somewhere in the 5 million websites, somewhere in that neighborhood in the next 2 to 3 months, and we'll be adding about 100 and 150,000 new websites a month. So we see that evolution playing out where website security is very closely mirroring the path of antivirus security, and we want to be the provider that becomes the kind of Intel inside, if you will, for website security.
That's kind of catchy. Exactly. But Intel probably won't let you use that. So obviously, if people want more information, they can go and they can see it. And again, just give us the basic plans again, starting with the secure speed. It goes for $99 a month? What are the?
Yeah, and then we have Secure Site for $199 a month, and then for e-commerce folks, there's Secure Store for $299 a month. And if you have more sophisticated needs, or you want to get a little bit more customized solution, we have Secure VIP, and that's more of a offer to really work with us to manage the security of your website, almost an outsourced security arm.
Right. Well, if you want more information, you can just go to the website, which is sitelock.com, sitelock.com, or just go to computeramerica.com and just go to our show notes page. You'll see it, interact with the show. You click the show notes button, you'll see today's show again, which is February the 9th, and you'll see hour 2, Sitelock. We have a link right to the website there, and you can even see Neil's name, president of Sitelock.com. It's all their description, and it'll take you right to the website, and that stays up there forever. So if you have more questions, just go to computeramerica.com, and it'll take you to the Sitelock website right on our show notes page. Neil, I want to thank you for being on the show. Anything else you want to tell our listeners before we say goodnight?
I think we covered it. I wanted to say thank you guys, and thanks for the opportunity to come on and speak with you. I really enjoyed the conversation, so thanks, guys.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for being with us here on the show tonight, and maybe we'll have you back on again soon. Okay.
That would be great. Thanks.
All right, Neil. Take care. Have a good evening. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. There you go. All right. Sitelock. Again, I didn't know something like that was out there. It makes perfect sense that something like that should be out there, but I wasn't. I mean, I know with Charles Tendell and penetrating, you could hire guys, but to have an actual system set up like that does all that for your website, and anybody, you don't have to be a huge website. I mean, anybody with a website can do this.
I mean, the first case I actually heard about something or realized something like this was needed, I had a friend that used to go to a website that we actually go to get some of our news stories, and I mean it's highly reputable. It's always been of the utmost. they're perfectly fine. You know, I might say their name because I like him so much. PopSci. He went to popsci.com. He goes there all the time. Love their stuff. But one day he went to it, and someone and a hacker actually got onto their website,
Oh.
and one of the ads was apparently malware. Like
Ooh.
they instead of doing their normal ads, he accidentally clicked on it and he downloaded malware. And
Ooh.
of course, like he never found the ad again. It was down like within the day. He couldn't find where he got it, but he got the malware just because the site itself wasn't as secure as it should have been.
And if they had something like Sitelock, that certainly
If
would.
they had something like Sitelock, then they wouldn't have been able to get in, presumably, depending on how they got in the first time, and they wouldn't have been able to get the malware. Because really, once you trust a site, like if you trust, name 20 of the most popular sites that you go to, you're not even going to think about malware on those sites. You say, okay, I've used this 100 times before, I'm going to use it 100 times again, I like this site, I know this site, I use this site. Your guard is going to be at its lowest on these sites. So if better than, you know, hackers are us, and they're putting all these kind of malware on that website, better to have Google.com and have and have malware all over Google than it is to their own website. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
so if they can sneak malware onto that site, they're golden.
Yeah, you know, it's again very interesting, and I like the fact that, you know, how he explained that you can have it so it goes, it takes it to, it's not hijacking, but it just takes you to a different location through the service, and so it actually changes the domain name server. So when you go to it, it goes to their site first, and then goes to your site. But it's so fast, it actually it speeds the process up. It actually makes the experience faster, which I find which is counterintuitive. You think, okay, well, I have to go someplace else first before I go to my website. They're doing a quick check. He's saying that it actually, the way they have it set up, it makes them.
Well, I mean, if they have a cache site pretty much in memory on their website, on their servers, if they have a cache site of the original site, it would just be like literally a matter of fractions of a second.
Yeah.
To to go from one to the other. So.
Well, again, I think it's really cool, and it's nice to know that they have a service like that. Hey, do we have time to do maybe one more quick story here?
One new story I want to get out there.
Yeah.
I think it was last Thursday, we did a DIY segment, since February is DIY month for us here on Computer America, and we did all about pictures, about taking them and filters and things like that, and how to get them shared. And one of the points that we shared about how to get your photos out there was using a site called Imager.
Oh yes, okay, I remember that.
Imager.com. Turns out that today, Imager had something called Imager Pro, where you could pay them $3 a month, and you could then do a list of features, and the list is store an unlimited number of images on your account, receive multiple thumbnail options on all uploads, access complete image analytics and refer data, very important, manage, edit, or delete any uploaded image at any time, and interact with the awesome Imager community through commenting, voting, and sharing. All that was through having a membership and being pro. But today, Imager announced that they're giving everyone these tools for free. So there's no longer Imager Pro. You don't have to pay for anything. You get all of those absolutely free.
Wow.
Yep. So they took their subscription model and did away with it.
Huh. Interesting. You know, there were so many great stories here that we just don't have time for.
No, that was a story.
Yeah, I know,
and you didn't say anything about it.
Well, I mean, you're saying the pro, it's no longer a pro, it's now pro is for everybody, right? And
no, just Imager is blanket. You get all those options just for using Imager and creating an account.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Imager Pro for everybody, exactly. I'm looking at the website too. Here, Imager blog. It's on their blog. They have people.
Yeah, their reaction just. And I'm waiting for you to ask the important question, but I guess you're not, so I'm going to have to ask it for you.
What is the question?
Why are they doing this? How can they do this? Why would they give up $3 a month from millions of users?
Okay, well, how are they doing it?
they're going to, because when you paid for Imager Pro, before there were a couple ads sprinkled across their site whenever you opened one of their GIFs and whatnot, uh, their pictures or just what have you, and there were ads sprinkled all over. And when you purchased the Pro account, they did away with all the ads, so you just got the content.
Right.
Well, since they're doing away with the Pro, they're adding a minimum of 1 ad per page and a maximum of 3 ads per page.
All right. Okay.
So they're going. So they're going more ad revenue because they have multi-million users refreshing the page every couple seconds. Like they get so much traffic that they figured better than having people pay $3 a month, they'd get more money from just doing a few ads. And they aren't going overboard. You know, they aren't going to do 15 ads and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be 1 or 3 ads strategically placed throughout the feed, think Facebook, to to up their ad revenue. So they're doing that, and if you've already paid for no ads, they're going to let that run out. But otherwise, you get all those great features now from Imager for free.
That's very, very cool. And we don't have time to do anything, but I just want to mention this. Maybe we'll pick it up tomorrow or something. We'll get it in.
Tomorrow is our Gamer Tuesday, so Wednesday.
Yeah. For those of you who wanted, the announcement just happened today. Apple is coming out with the Apple Watch this April. So you just heard it here first, okay? Because they didn't know when it was going to happen. Evidently, according to CNET, Apple has just said that the Apple Watch is coming this April, and we'll go into more details and actually the costs and what it does and which model and everything. It actually goes into quite an extensive version of it. But there it is. They didn't know when it was going to happen. Now you know. April.
90 seconds.
All right, so that about wraps up the show for tonight. Again, thanks to our both guests. Tomorrow night, Grayson Hamilton's going to be here. It's our Gamer Tuesday show. Yes, exactly. All about computer games, and more games, and it's always a fun show that we have with him, and he appears on the program for both hours, and looks like we're going to be talking about some of the new games that are just around the corner, and some of them that are just breaking now.
60 seconds.
And of course, he has both sets. He has the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. So we're going to hear about them all. He does a great job on that. Again, thanks so much for being with us here tonight. It was a fun show, and we're glad that you could be with us here. And we will see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, we hope to see you tomorrow night indeed. It's Gamer Tuesday, so be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yes?
Okay. Yeah, no. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Free!
We'll see you tomorrow night.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching. It was a lot of fun, and we'll see you with Grayson Hamilton tomorrow night on the Gamer Tuesday show. Take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Good night.